Recording now.
Thank you, babes. Okay,
I
so
like the handwriting. That's all. Like
yes, thank you.
graffiti.
So, I know that black filmmakers love to do things with color themes and all that, and I see that you love to use colors. A lot of things I noticed though, when you use red, it symbolized anger but also passion. Blue kind of symbolizes like realization, if I'm not mistaken, and the purple kind of symbolized connectivity, or more so. Is that true, or is that like me
You
just-
saying that's what it all? Yeah, I
from
don't.
what I was feeling and
Oh
everything?
yeah,
But
I didn't. No, I don't. Not that I know of. Maybe it does, but yeah, I'm usually just kind of. Yeah, I'm not using it as this other symbol. It's more about what I want it to make people feel right there. How I want it to make people feel. And I think all of that comes from the context of what was just shown before, what's happening then, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it always makes you feel one particular way. And I'm not necessarily using it in a metaphorical sense. I'm just using it as visceral right here and right now.
okay, I love that, and that's why I was asking, because I didn't really
Yeah.
tell. One thing too I noticed is that you talked a lot about how community matters in that and everything, and that's the bigger issue or the bigger problem. And I know that you went and talked about it after. But one thing too I would have to say is what's needed now, especially. There's conversations that I've been having about with my friends about community being a bigger issue, and taking ourselves out of the equation and not thinking about ourselves in that, and like, because our problems are the like when I saw is like the big giant ball, when she kept thinking about herself and her issues, but when she broke out of that and she like started thinking about the community as a whole, those smaller issues didn't seem like that big.
Yeah.
About.
Yeah.
And so when you
And they were easier to handle because you're kind of collectivizing the struggle.
No, okay, so we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I'm not, yes, okay.
Yeah.
And then another question I have is, would you call yourself an Afrofuturist?
I don't really know what that is, and I think it's more. I'm not saying I'm not. I don't know. I think that's more for other people to analyze after the fact. Because when I'm making something, I'm not trying to stick to a certain genre or thing. I'm trying to do the thing that works, and I'm using the tools that I think work.
No, I love that. Period. Okay. And then last thing, I don't think people want to be the art; they want to be the artist. That felt way too realistic. Where did that that line come from? Was that just coming out, or did you?
I mean, having the conversation, being in the conversation.
And what do you mean by that?
There's just, there's so much that we look at, as artists, as how we're going to affect people, how, even if it's not with lofty goals, like, I might have, it's more like, what are people going to feel, what are people going to think, but all those folks want power too. They want to be able to create. They want to have people respond to their needs, their ideas, things like that. So and it's connected to what she ends up talking about at the end, what Kiki ends up talking about how people want to express themselves. Not in that case, at first they're just talking about their clothes. People want to use the clothes as ways to express themselves. But later, there's a larger connection. People want to use power to express the way their world is around them, to change that, and to have some say in what things feel like and look like around how the world works.
And that's very powerful. How do you feel about the conversation about the art is a remix? Everything is a remix.
I think you're getting that door right behind you.
I don't know what you're saying.
So in one of my filmmaking classes, we watched a documentary talking about how art is a remix of, like, everything is a remix. And nobody, like, invented
Yeah. It's all out there. I mean, new combinations make new things. But yeah, I think, you know, we're all influenced by things that came before us. And that's how it always should be. Like, we're not inventing new language as we're sitting here talking about ideas. You know, there's just different contexts that come up in, different things that we think are important or not. Yeah.
I got everything.
Cool.
Can I get a picture with you?
Yeah, let's do it.